What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at Toedscruel EX, and I think this card's actually in a really good spot right now, and this list was submitted to me on the community Discord by Ruthless Hoser, and they've sent me lists before. All their lists are super interesting and really cool. So this is a list they sent to me, and I've kind of changed it up and made some edits to it and some changes. I know this list has kind of become a little bit more popular in like the last couple weeks on YouTube, but I want to give credit to them because they're the first person I saw using it. Like, they were building this list months ago, it feels like. So this is definitely something that I want to give credit to because it's a very interesting concept. But one of the things that this deck does is that it focuses on Toedscruel EX and its Colony Rush attack, where it ends up doing 280 damage if you have an energy attached to each of your bench Pokemon. And the way we're going to be able to do that is by utilizing Ogerpon EX, Teal Mask, since we can use its Teal Dance ability to place the energies on it that we need, but also draw ourselves cards at the exact same time, and potentially even use it as a backup attacker if it has enough energies attached to it later on in the game. The other thing that we're going to be using is we're going to be using the regular base Toedscruel, since it has the Slime Mold Colony ability, and what that does is that it stops your opponent from being able to put cards into their hand by the effects of abilities or trainer cards. Why this is super important is because it stops things like Superior Energy Retrieval or even regular Energy Retrieval or things of that nature. Matchups where that's very important specifically are things like when you're going into Raging Bolt EX, it stops them from being able to get all their energy that they discarded back into their hand in order to recycle their Ogerpons, which they'll typically want to do in the later stages of the game. We also run a Rabsca, since it's just super broken. It stops everything, helps us in Lost Zone matchups that are becoming more and more popular after NAIC, and just stops like your ninjas, things like that. So it's always very important. We also run one Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, since it just can hit for massive damage in the late parts of the game. If we get down to 2 prize cards or 1 prize card, it's very easy to drop the energy on it very quickly and just bring it into the active, knock something out, and kind of close out a game when we need to. We're also running Energy Switch just to help power up our Toedscruel, since one of the major defects is obviously its 2 energy, and sometimes we won't have the ability to get the energy on right away, so it's nice to just be able to energy switch onto it. We're playing Bug Catcher Set, since it's pretty broken. Almost all of our cards that we're looking for are grass, and we have a whole bunch of energy that we're going to be looking for, so that makes it pretty easy there. We also run Earthen Vessel just to make that a little bit easier. The stadium cards of choice, I went with 1 Jamming Tower and 1 Temple of Sinnoh. The Jamming Tower is nice into a couple different matchups, also Raging Bolt and other things like that. And also things like Chansey, since if we run into Chansey and they throw on like Hero's Cape or something like that, we need Jamming Tower to turn it off, so that way we can still guarantee the one-hit KOs. And we also want to make sure they're running Temple of Sinnoh, since it will stop matchups like Lugia. You can run 2 copies of either one of these, like you can cut one to add 2 copies of the other, but I would recommend one or the other, if not one of each. And then our aspect of choice is Max Belt, since it allows us to hit the 330 number we need to knock out anything we want in a single attack. As for our supporters, we play a pretty simple line. We just run 2 Boss, 2 Irida, and a set of Professor's Research. The reason why we do this is that we're not really worried about our direct supporters, since we're going to be drawing a lot of cards off our Teal Mask Ogerpon anyway, and we have a really good amount of search throughout our deck, so we're pretty much just looking to utilize what we need to in specific moments. We don't really need a supporter like every single turn. But yeah, that's going to be the list, guys. Definitely let me know what you think of the list. Definitely let me know any changes that you would make. I think this list is a ton of fun, and it's actually in a pretty good spot, like kind of anti-meta wise right now. So I'd definitely give it a shot. Be sure to give a shout out in the Discord if you're already in there, to Ruthless Hoser, who did a great job with this list. And yeah, don't forget to join the community Discord. It'll be a link down in the description, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. We're on track to 1,000 subscribers. We just hit like 901 or something like that, so thank you guys for the support. We're on track to hit 1,000, so if you're not subbed yet, please do. And I will see you guys in game 1 in a moment. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 1. We're going to be going first. I prefer to go first with this deck since we want to be able to get ourselves as set up as possible with Toedscruel and other options. And we want to be able to like make sure that we're evolving on the following turn. We are up against what we can assume is Raging Bolt since we see the Ogerpon, but Ogerpon's such a versatile card that you really don't know until you're kind of playing against it. We're going to grab ourselves double Teal Mask. And we'll have the ability to Iono on the next turn and like Energy Switch if we have to. So we can get ourselves one more card. And we'll actually have Research for the next turn, which is pretty big. One of the things that we can utilize and why it's kind of nice is so what we can do on our next turn is we can manually attach the energy to the Toedscruel, Energy Switch to have it fully powered up. Oh, okay, it's Regidrago V-Star. That's pretty cool. So they'll probably get another Ogerpon off the Nest Ball, or they can go Squawkabilly. They go Cleffa. Interesting. Cleffa into a Switch. Manually attach the energy. You feel like they would have Teal danced. Or they're going Research right off the bat. This is pretty cool. Professor's Research. I still like my favorite Professor's Research is the one from Celebrations, the Professor Oak one. Like the full art. I think that thing looks so cool. I'd be curious to know what everyone's favorite Professor's Research art is, considering there's like 100 of them. Also, Professor Magnolia, what gen was that? Was that... It's not Sword and Shield, right? Is it? No, I think it is, right? That's Sword and Shield? I can't remember. Because it can't be... X and Y was that dude... Yeah, no, it has to be Sword and Shield. So we'll see what they get off the Ultra Ball. I would assume another Ogerpon. Unless they want to get themselves the... Okay. I was going to say, unless they want to get themselves like the Regidrago V-Star for next turn, which in that case we would just like go ahead and just straight Iono. But what we'll probably do here is just play the energy... So, yeah, we'll go Energy Switch. Place that down. We can Ultra Ball the Lost Vacuum and the Iono to grab ourselves the Toedscruel. Place that down. Then we can Professor's Research. And that's actually pretty big for us. We'll be able to Bug Catcher in here. We do get ourselves another energy, which is nice. We'll be able to draw, and what we can hope to do here is if we can actually get into our regular... We don't need this, right? So we can Earthen Vessel this away. It's not really going to be relevant in this matchup. We can grab 2 more energy. What we can hope to do here is get into... Perfect. Our regular Toedscool. And the reason why we want to make sure we do this is that... We'll take the knockout on the Cleffa here. The reason why we want to make sure that we do that is... One of the things that Regidrago wants to be able to do... The Iono's kind of nice here. is that when it evolves, it wants to be able to use its ability to discard the top 7 and then draw from there, like, more important cards. So, like, to get the professors back, or to get the switch back, or, like, whatever they're looking for. And with the slime mold colony, they won't be able to do that. So, like, let's say they need an energy switch here in order to be able to attack. Typically, they'd want to be able to discard the top 7, find the energy switch inside of that, and then add it back to their hand. But thanks to the slime mold colony, they're not going to be able to. And then on our next turn, we'll have, if we can get into an energy switch, we'll have a way to kind of get the entire board powered up. Because what we're going to look to do is we can Ultra Ball away 1 energy and probably the switch. Alright, well, we'll keep the switch. They could potentially knock us out if they get a couple more energies and able to use... Oh, hey, there it is. So they had the energy switch, but no actual energy. This is my favorite one. This just looks so cool. Maybe it's just a little stamp to it, but I just think it's the best looking Professor's Research. So there's the Goodra. So they could potentially knock out my Teal Mask this turn. Which would be a little sad, but not the biggest deal in the world. Since we have plenty of options. Even still, they still need to find another energy switch, and they don't have the ability to use their V-Star power. Well, to find it anyway. Alright, they did have one already. So, they can go Goodra here. That wouldn't knock us out, so they're going to have to Raging Bolt and discard everything. If they want the knockout. Or, I guess they wouldn't have to discard everything, but almost everything. Because technically it would only take 3 energy. If we can get into... If we can get into Max Belt, we do KO them. They don't get any new dragon types. They shouldn't be able to add anything, right? Yeah, I was gonna say, they shouldn't be... That's why it was, like, weird that it was, like, even, like, letting them attempt to select anything. It was like, it shouldn't work. Unless the wording's, like, super specific. Yeah, so they're still left to... If they want the KO, they have to discard a whole bunch of energies. And if they don't want the KO, they can kind of live an extra turn. But then we'll be able to bring in Toedscruel. And so it's like... Yeah, so they go with surviving. But we could potentially get around that. Yeah, because there's the boss's orders. So we can kind of, like, ignore him. If we can just go boss there. Yeah, so they're just going to concede. The slime mold colony actually was kind of huge there. Obviously, if they wanted to get into, like, other pieces, but not being able to get back any of the grass energies and like stuff like that from the slime mold colony is actually huge in that matchup. So that's going to be game number 1. We'll jump in a pretty quick one. So we'll jump into game number 2 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 2. We'll see what we're up against. We open 1 Teal Mask and a lot of setup cards. We do have the Jamming Tower, depending on matchup, that could be useful. We also have the Iono for the following turn. We see the Iron Bundle. So we'll go Buddy Poffin here, grab ourselves the problem is, alright, so we see Pidgeot, and that doesn't really tell us if we're up against, like, Charizard or if we're up against Dracopult. And so we'll play it safe, and we'll grab Roller, just in case. And we'll grab the Teal Mask Ogerpon. Then what we can do is Teal Dance, put an energy onto our active. Then what we can do is we're going to end up actually putting an energy on the Toedscool, just so that way we have an easier chance at being, what's it called? We have an easier chance at being able to attack on our next turn. What we could do is Ultra Ball for a Teal Mask as well, but what I'm going to do is pass my turn for now, and what we'll probably end up doing, depending on matchup, so like we'll get to see here if we're going to need the Jamming Tower or not. And so it looks like we won't need the Jamming Tower. So what we can actually end up doing is we can Ultra Ball. Alright, they're going to Iono us, which is fine. We were going to end up doing that ourselves anyway, so we'll see what we get. Cool, we get Nest Ball and a whole bunch of energies and a research, which is pretty big. So there's the Buddy Poffin for 1 more Dreepy, I assume. And then they will instant charge. They go Manaphy. That's actually great for us because we have no way to snipe their bench anyway. So it's just kind of a dead bench spot. And then Iron Bundle doesn't work because they have to retreat it anyway. So all of that works super well. What we can end up doing here is going Nest Ball, grabbing ourselves 1 more Ogerpon. We can Teal Dance just to get the energy and draw. That way there's 1 still equipped when we retreat. Then what we can do is Teal Dance to the 1 on the bench, see what we draw. We get Temple of Sinnoh. So what we can actually end up doing here is we can Ultra Ball both of these away, grab ourselves the Toedscruel EX, place that down. We can attach the energy. We'll go ahead and use the switch to bring this in. That way it still has 2 energy, so if we want to energy swap it to something else, it's still useful. We can go ahead and use the Professor's Research, and we'll be able to get ourselves 1 more card. There's a Bug Catcher Set, kind of extending our turn a little bit longer. We can get the Rabsca, and we get ourselves an energy. So we can go ahead and play that down so that way we have it, and we'll be able to use the energy on the next turn as well. So we can Colony Rush, taking the first knockout. We get the Ultra Ball. And then what we can end up doing here, potentially, is we can Ultra Ball for a new Teal Mask, Ogerpon, place that down, draw ourselves 1 more card, And then all we'll need is an energy here, and to be able to draw into our max belt, and we'll one-shot the Dracopult if they set it up this turn. Which, with the Rare Candy and the Seal Stone, they should be able to do. They should be able to Rare Candy to Pidgeot here, then Seal Stone for another Rare Candy, and Quick Search for the Dracopult. Which, if we're able to knock this out, they shouldn't be able to replace the new Dracopult after the fact, depending on their build. But what we might need to do is edit the plan a little bit, only because we're going to need a new Toedscruel after. Since we haven't seen their A-Spec yet, they could be potentially running like double turbo, or not double turbo, the Neo Upper Energy, which all they'd have to do is search that out, place it down, and they'd immediately be able to attack into us and KO us and like repower this. So we're gonna have to take the 2-hit KO here more likely than not. But it's possible we're still able to get the 1-hit KO, since we could go Ultra Ball here just to guarantee us the other Toedscool. Place that down, manually attach the energy to it, and then just look for an energy switch, which is what we might end up doing here. So we'll get rid of these. We'll grab ourselves the Toedscool, just so that way we can have it prepared to set up on the next turn. We can place the energy down. Since we're going to research anyway, what we'll do is Ultra Ball. No, we'll just get rid of this. We'll Super Rod real quick. We'll keep the Ursaluna, because we can potentially use it to boss up the Rotom later on in the game if we like need something as like a quick KO option. And we will research here. Unfortunately, we don't find ourselves the energy switch, but it's fine. We'll be able to get the 2-hit KO, and that actually works out totally fine for us. The benefit here is that we will be able to Nest Ball out one last Ogerpon. We'll have the ability to boss if we need to, but we also have the Max Belt available, which means we will be able to one-shot the next Dracopult they bring in. Which is kind of the most important factor that we kind of like need to have happen. And we only need the one more Toedscruel to work off of. Since, like I said, we'll be able to boss out the, like, to the Rotom to close out the game later on if we need to. Why did they attach that to the Pidgeot? Are they just gonna attack with Pidgeot to, like, protect this? If they do, that's kind of a weird play. But the Neo Upper Energy is why I didn't, like, overcommit to, like, to knocking this out. Actually. That's kind of perfect. So I can just place the energy down here. I can throw on the max belt, knock this out. And then I can always boss to this on the next turn. And, like, even if they attack into me, this still lives because it's at 70. Like, they don't do enough. So I can Nest Ball this back out. Right? Because I'm going to end up using the boss anyway, so I'm not going to have it for Ursaluna. So I just want this to be able to get the maximum amount of power possible on my following turn. So we throw the max belt down. That means I KO the Pidgeot. We're healthy enough on everything that the Drake-Bolt attack doesn't really matter. We have all the energy that we need. So we one-shot the Drake-Bolt. Obviously, we were going to be able to KO it anyway. It only has 80 HP left. But it means that they attack into us. We KO this. They bring in the next one. And we can just look to boss up the Rotom with our new Toedscruel. Or honestly, we don't even need to boss up the Rotom. We can literally just KO anything else we want. And we can even do it with, like, the Teal mask. Like, we can pull up a Dreepy, or even we can pull up the Manaphy. But yeah, like I said before, kind of a weird play on their part. But I know that they really want it to be able to knock out the Rabsca, so that way they can start placing like damage counters down and, you know, being annoying and like knocking out the Ogerpons, but not really the most optimal play. Yeah, because, like, Toedscruel also kind of blocks everything. So there's not really much they can do. So we can go ahead and Teal Dance. Make sure that we have everything kind of fully powered. See if there's something else we really need. Yeah, our matchup into Drake-Bolt's actually just nuts. We can go ahead and attack here, Colony Rush for 330. Then we'll have the ability to boss on our following turn to close out the game. But yeah, our matchup into Drake-Bolt is kind of absolutely busted. Like, there's not much they can do at a lot of points in the game through a combination of our abilities, our backups, our, you know, like, just all of our pieces. It's just crazy good. So they can get themselves into a new Drake-Bolt. Their Neo Upper Energy was already used, so I don't think that there's anything they can even do to get themselves, like, fully powered up. Unless they play, like, Mel, right? They could play Mel, hope to draw themselves into a Psychic Energy, attack into us, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. If they Mel, then they don't reshuffle our hand. Oh, TM Devo? That's actually a really good play. I mean, it doesn't work because we have Toedscruel, but hypothetically, that would have been a really good play. For anyone reference, by the way, the reason why that doesn't work is because of Toedscruel's ability. Which, again, just makes it, like, the ability that it stops all effects of an attack makes it so powerful. Like, one, because card game players don't read. So, they don't know that it does that, and they never check first. But also, too, it's just, like, it's kind of broken. It comes up way more than you'd think. So that's going to be game number 2, and I'll see you guys in game number 3 in a moment. Peace. Alright, we're in a game number 3, and we're going to be going first. We'll see what our opponent's playing in a moment, but we do open pretty much what we need. We have the option to place down the roller if it's a matchup where we may need it. Just to keep us safe in the early game. What does this do? If you go first, you can use attack move first, search your deck for 3. Okay. Something tells me that we don't need roller, but I have literally no idea what we're up against. So I'm going to grab myself one more Toedscool just so I have it. Then what I can do is we'll go Nest Ball, grab ourselves the Teal Mask. Then what I can do is Earthen Vessel, get rid of the roller, because like I said, I don't think I'm going to end up needing it. Grab myself double energy. Then what we can do is Teal Dance once. I hate that I have to attach it, by the way. I know I complain about it every single time, but it's really dumb. We just get ourselves one more energy. So actually not phenomenal. We would have loved to get a lot more off that, but not really the biggest deal in the world. Seems like our opponent's just going to be kind of like grabbing random Pokemon. So I guess they just want like a full bench for something. There's an Irida. Okay. Is it some kind of Palkia deck? And so like that's why they want the full bench. There's a Dark Energy. Ooh, is this the stun locking Articuno deck? That's kind of cool. I mean, if I have Toedscool, it doesn't really matter. But it's interesting. So there's Fast Carrier. We'll see what they bring out. Double Monkey Dory and a Palkia. I've seen this deck kind of like around. It's really interesting. This is my first time playing like against it though, but I've seen like lists online. So we'll attach that. We'll draw, or we'll evolve this, and then I'm two-shotting this no matter what, so it doesn't really matter what I do. So we'll just Colony Rush. It's gonna end up retreating anyway. But as of right now, we're immune to abilities. And they don't have any... Yeah, I'm going to say, they don't have any, like, energy in their discard pile to make me afraid of Palkia at the moment. Even if they power up Articuno, it won't actually matter. Because they'll do the 70 damage, but the effect won't actually happen. So we're like completely immune to this as well. Oh, we can even go Iono here. So what I'll do is I'll use the Energy Switch to put the energy onto the Toedscool, and then I will... Yeah, we'll go ahead and Iono first before we end up using Teal Mask. Cool. I don't think Temple of Sinnoh is actually going to be, like, important in this game. Do I want... I don't think I even want the other, like, Teal Masks, right? Because they're just going to try to trap them with, like, counter catchers and boss and stuff like that. So I think I just want to make sure, like, so I can KO this, right? And then I just want to make sure I have enough damage that I can KO the Palkia if they try to build that, because that's going to be like the only thing that actually is kind of like a threat to me. Yeah, like they're going to have to manually attach the Palkia to like KO me. How much do I need to do this? 140? So I could just boss this up right now, right? Yeah, so... because I'm not going to be able to do 280 without finding a max belt. There's another energy, though. We do have the energy switch as well. I don't really want to use the other Toedscool. What I might do... because Palkia can't one-shot me from here. So I think I just want to KO this thing for right now, right? Just get the extra prize cards. Kind of speed up ending this game. 2 more energies. Palkia shouldn't be able to one-shot me here, I don't think. There's already Anchor Ninja. It already used its V-Star power. There's an Iono down to 3, which is a little annoying, but if we find our max belt, then we should be fine to KO this. We do have the research that'll help us find it. Yeah, they didn't even find the water energy to KO us. We are doing 200. We'll make sure the energy is attached so that way we can guarantee the KO on our following turn. We'll go Ogerpon here, I guess. Yeah, because we're doing 200, so we need max belt and like 1 more energy attachment. Fortunately, we didn't find any of that. We actually just made it a little bit easier for them to end up KOing us. We'll go ahead and Colony Rush, though. That way we at least get the 2-shot no matter what. Unfortunately, we didn't find exactly what we were looking for, but... I mean, the Ursaluna will be able to KO pretty easily, so that's fine. We'll also have the Spirit Energy Retrieval we can end up using if they do knock us out. Okay. I mean, they can't attach 3 energy to, or 2 energy to this on this turn anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter. We can just energy switch to it, retreat it out, bring Toedscruel back in. And we 2-shot this pretty much no matter what, so I'm not really worried about them taking damage off of it. We 1-shot the Ursaluna. Oh cool, there's the max belt, that makes that easier. So we'll go ahead and energy switch here, bring that onto the active. We can retreat that out. We'll bring in our healthiest Toedscool, not that it really matters. And then we can slap down the max belt. We'll go ahead and Superior Energy Retrieval this and this away. Get the 1 energy back, since it's really all we end up needing. So that way we can attach. We'll throw down the Temple of Sinnoh, I guess. It doesn't really matter. And then we one-shot everything anyway, right? So let's just Iono. Get ourselves 3 more cards. I don't know, maybe they had something useful in their hand that we get to reshuffle. And then we'll just keep this for now, since we want to make the boss's orders available on our following turn. So we'll Colony Rush. Knock out that. Get 2 more prize cards. And there's the double energy. The main reason why we didn't want to use the Teal Mask ability to draw on this next turn is they don't have a way to, like, bring in Articuno to KOS or, like, be annoying. But they do potentially, like, they could attach an energy to the Palkia, try to attack us, and then we'd have to be able to bring in, like, Toedscool or whatever, but we just want 1 more card to draw on our following turn. We also want to make sure, like, we're able to boss to something. They're also in our deck when we get Iono'd, even though it's down to 1 card. Again, we only need 1. We only need 1 prize card anyway. Cool, so the game's over. Us being immune to Articuno makes that a lot easier. So we'll Colony Rush. This was an interesting matchup. We just kind of really counter their entire deck, which is unfortunate for them. But that's definitely a fun deck. I'd love to play that, or like do a video of that in the future, because like I've seen the list come out and kind of be around. I have no idea who like the originator of the list is, but it's definitely a really interesting card and like an interesting concept of like using the Wild Freeze to do damage to yourself and then using the Monkey Dory to like move that energy around and like keep them paralyzed in the active, because most people aren't playing switches. So it's really cool. Unfortunately, they ran into us, who's playing the deck that literally stops their deck from working. But yeah, that's going to be game number 3, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. I love the list. I hope you do as well. And hopefully, you know, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that sentence. But anyway, hopefully you guys like the list, like I said. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Join the community Discord down in the description below, along with this deck list. And I will see you guys all in the next video. We're getting closer to 1,000 subs every day. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, peace out, guys. See you in the next one.